Alrighty, hi everyone. I am going to do my first sit down video, and my first video is going to be how much I spent going to just Coachella as an Australian. So all these figures will be in AUD. I've kind of listed out everything that I spent while preparing for Coachella and then obviously going to Coachella. This is based on like just the 4 days that I was in Palm Springs. Actual trip, I actually flew to LA. We stayed there a night, and then we drove to Palm Springs, stayed there for 4 days over Coachella, and then we came back to LA. From there, I went to New York and actually returned from New York. I just didn't know that you could go to Coachella as an Australian, and I am so honored, thanks to my friend Maddie, for giving me the opportunity to go to Coachella. So in terms of the big basic things, my Coachella ticket, we got it when it was first released by Coachella. We didn't get the shuttle pass, we just got the weekend 2 tickets, and converting to Australian at the time, this was like last November maybe, it was $992. So it's almost $1,000 for the ticket. But if you think about like how many artists are going to be there and what an experience it is, like the setup and everything that goes into it, it's actually unlike any festival that I've been to. Not that I've been to that many festivals, but it's just, I think it was totally worth it. Okay, next are my flights. So my flight to LAX, I flew with Fiji Airways. I slept really well. I think I'm just a really good sleeper on planes. And that flight cost me $551. So we stopped over it was a 3-hour flight from Sydney to Nadi. We stopped over for like 2-3 hours, but it literally barely felt like anything. Like by the time you get off the plane and go through security again, like 40 minutes till you board. So it was like really chill. And then it's another 10.5 hours, which is, I think, very manageable. The food was, it's not exceptional, but when is plane food ever exceptional? You know what I mean? So that was $551. My flight back from the US, obviously it wasn't from Palm Springs or from LA. I was flying back from New York, but I used my Qantas points. I think it was like 45,000 Qantas points, and then 260 Australian dollars on top of that. And once again, that flight, so that one was from New York to Auckland. I mean, this is a side note, but that flight was from New York to Auckland, which is like a 17-hour flight, and then you have like an hour and a bit to get on the next flight from Auckland to Sydney, which is another 3.5 hours. Or in total, it was about 22-3 hours. But again, slept like a baby. I had a whole row to myself. I was really lucky, but basically I didn't check in online because then it kind of automatically assigns you a seat. If you get there early enough, check in at the desk and just be really polite and ask. I asked, is there anywhere that I can have a whole row to myself? And then the guy there was like, for some reason, like in this row, like these 2 seats are blocked out, so you probably won't have anyone for this leg of the flight. So for the long leg of the flight from New York to Auckland, I had no one next to me. I had the whole row, 3 whole seats to myself. I slept horizontally. I slept so well. So anyways, going back. So that flight was only 260 Australian dollars using my points. Is accommodation for Coachella. So for our accommodation, we rented a place that was about 40 minutes drive from the Coachella grounds, drove in, parked at Coachella, and then drove back. So if you don't have anyone that wants to drive to and from Coachella, which is so fair enough, then maybe find somewhere a little bit closer to the grounds. Obviously that's going to be more expensive, but the total for 3 nights was 6,410 Australian dollars. I think it's like 4,500 US dollars. It's between 14 of us. There was a lot of us. Some of us were sleeping on the couch, some of us were sleeping on the floor, so it wasn't split equally. But for me and Maddie, who we got our own room and shared a bed, that was 633 Australian. Okay. Next, when I was at Coachella, I actually didn't buy many drinks and food because we all know how overpriced it is. I didn't need to buy alcohol because the security were really chill, if that makes sense. When I bought 2 drinks on the last day. It was not alcoholic. It was just like a lemonade and a pineapple juice. They were quite generous with the size. I would say it's about like 500 mils. I was carrying that shit around for like 2 hours, each. So those came to 49 Australian dollars altogether. So 2 drinks, 49, that's 25 Australian dollars for 2 drinks, which is a little bit insane, but I was expecting it. I think my friends also bought like slices of pizza and stuff throughout the 3 days. I just wasn't that hungry. It was just so hot. I was like really excited and so dehydrated probably. That's what I've come to. Merch, I bought this little jumper and I bought a Big Bang t-shirt, and those 2 came to 188 Australian dollars. So I think this was like $110 or something, and then the t-shirt was like 70 Australian dollars. Merch line was, when we got into the merch line to get this, we did not know what we were in for. I definitely recommend getting in there like as early as possible. Pick a day and go in at like 12 o'clock. Otherwise, you're going to be waiting 2.5 hours in line for merch. Groceries wise, we only had one big grocery shop, and that was really for the first night. We did like a barbecue and a dinner, and we just got some snacks and some waters and stuff, and that came to, between the 14 of us, $47 Australian each. Car hire and petrol. So for our car hire, there was 6 of us hiring one like 7-seater car to Coachella and back. I found out that it was 88 Australian dollars per day to hire a car, and then when I times that by 4 and then divided by 6, it came to 58 Australian dollars. So the car hire wasn't too expensive for 4 days, obviously. Petrol wise, obviously this is very subject to change depending on the, you know, what's going on around the world, but I calculated the one to LA and back, it was $45 per person, which is not bad. So basically I got to and from LA to Palm Springs for like under $100, or like just like $100. I don't know. There were other costs here and there that are obviously up to your control. So it's optional, but for the second day, we couldn't find parking because it was Coachella day, and we were just driving around in circles for 3 hours. And then our knight in shining armor, Mama Chrissy, she pulled up with a van and she was like, I'll get you to Coachella for $20 a head, and I can show you some residential parking. So $40 to and from, which comes to about 57 Australian dollars. And then last few things, I got a phone plan while I was there to just be able to use my mobile. Used Tello, I think. Signed up for a month by month plan. Paid for a month. It was $25 US, which is about 35 Australian dollars. And Coachella actually does have signal. It's like some areas obviously are patchy, but in general you can get signal. So total, I spent a little bit over $3,000, so like $3,200. You could spend well over that amount, but I think it's also, I didn't feel like I was missing out on a whole heap, but again, it depends on what kind of person you are. But yeah, so I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, please message me or leave a comment. I hope this is informative. I'll see you next time.